Hello, hello, it is the Valley's geekiest weather video. Weather for Weather Geeks. This is my in-depth weather video, taking a look at the short range and oftentimes, including tonight, we'll take a little sneak peek at the longer range as well, including a lot of next week. Let's start out with the drought monitor update, and this wasn't much of an update today. Virtually nothing changed on this map since last week. So let me actually roll this forward, and you can see that last week the drought area expanded, and then it stayed the same this week. So yeah, it's still dry despite the recent rains, which of course were beneficial, but they haven't put much of a dent in our drought. Now this is interesting. When you look back since January 1st, the departures from average rainfall-wise across the region. Look at Youngstown. We're only 0.05 of an inch below average. What's the deal with that? Well, this accounts for some precipitation that was a little above average early in the year, and also the fact that even in this dry spell over the last couple of months, the airport has been like a magnet for thunderstorms, and the airport has picked up more rain on average than just about anywhere else in our viewing area. So that's why the deficit isn't quite as impressive as you would think at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Look at Pittsburgh, Cleveland, 2-3 inches, Mansfield, New Philly, 5-6 inches below average. You think it's bad here? Buffalo is 8 inches below average. Severe drought up in western New York into the Finger Lakes so far in 2016. All right, on the temperature front today, we hit a high of 84 this afternoon, a little shy of our forecast of 86, but we were still within 2 degrees, so we get the check mark today, and we get check marks 77% of the time in 2016. We've gotten that number up nicely in recent weeks. We hope to have it above 80 before the summer is through. All right, Storm Tracker 21 this evening when I recorded this is quiet. We had some sprinkles and light showers earlier on today. Those have faded away. No big deal. I want to take a quick look at the tropics. Earl made landfall last night. Now, this loop is going back 24 hours, then we'll roll it forward. Earl made landfall last night in Belize, as expected, as a Category 1 hurricane, and of course it's weakening over land now. And so now we have maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. It's a tropical storm, and continues to produce some heavy rains, and haven't seen a lot of reports of big-time problems yet, but, you know, it may be a little while before we really get the true sense of what kind of impacts this had in Belize and parts of Mexico and Honduras as well. All right, let's talk about other far-reaching places. Let's take a fly here from Youngstown down to Rio de Janeiro, where the 2016 Olympic Games, Summer Olympics, will get underway with the opening ceremonies tomorrow evening. Now, Rio de Janeiro is on the coast in kind of the southern half of Africa, the east coast, or South America, I should say, not Africa. And it's, of course, right along the coast with mountains not far to the west of kind of the center of the city. This is where most of the Olympic action will be held. This is, kind of interesting. It's winter down there, even though it's Summer Olympics. It is technically winter in Brazil and in South America, and the weather is not that different than our weather here in the heart of summer in Youngstown. Average high is at about 78. Now, of course, the coast has a lot to do with it. You go farther inland and it's a lot hotter. But in Rio, 78 your average high at this time of the year, pretty close to our average of 81. Average lows in the 60s. Now, it is fairly dry in August. Typically about 1.75 inches worth of rain. Dry compared to us, anyway. We pick up typically 3.25 inches of rain. Now, here's the forecast for the next 5 days from opening ceremonies through early next week. A little warmer than average, certainly. In fact, the heat may peak up at around 90 with an offshore wind and a downsloping wind off those mountains. It gets pretty hot in Rio. But then chances of rain and some cooler temperatures early next week. I doubt there's any rain until early next week. So the first couple of days of action should be rain-free. All right, back here at home. Speaking of rain-free, we've removed the chance of rain tomorrow for the daylight hours. We think it's going to be dry, and the southwest wind developing. It's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. Temperatures making a run at 90, dew points making a run at 70. Pretty stifling. Any rain holds off until tomorrow night, and it's not going to be much. A couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, a longer cold front. That's gone by daybreak Saturday, and as promised, the weekend just turns out to be great. This little secondary front will just give us some cumulus clouds on Sunday. Otherwise, boy, what a nice weekend. Humidity will be down, the sun will be out, temperatures near seasonal averages. All right, the Storm Prediction Center has the region in a low risk of severe weather, and I think this is even pushing it a little bit because I don't even know if there's that much thunder with this tomorrow night. I think there's a better chance of thunder across western and northwest Ohio, kind of the Toledo and Lima zone. But nonetheless, we'll have to watch out for perhaps a thunderstorm here and there tomorrow night, but not real keen on the severe weather chances here locally. What about rain? We need it. We're not going to get much over the next week. some model differences here. I tend to believe the modeling that has low amounts. I don't buy the Canadian here in the blue line, giving us 2/3 of an inch. Don't buy that at all. GFS even seems high to me at about a half an inch. I'm more in line with the NAM, the Euro, the RPM, which is generally a 1/4 of an inch or less. I think that'll be a good average as far as the rain goes for tomorrow night. And then, yeah, bone dry weekend. Look at the dew points dropping into the 50s. And dew points will stay pretty low Monday, even though it'll start to warm up again. And then, not only will it be hot, look at the humidity coming back middle of next week. Looks like another hot stretch during middle of next week. We'll make a run at 90 a couple of times, and dew points could be kind of like they were today and will be tomorrow. So lots of summer left. We turned the calendar into August, but lots of summer left here in the valley. That's tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11 o'clock. Have a great rest of this Thursday.